Alright, we're going to install the ApexTactical FRE, Failure Resistant Extractor. This is the part that we're talking about here. And it is a harder extractor. It has a better end on it, and I believe they have changed the geometry just a hair to give it a little more leverage. I'll have to check that though. So, of course, like anything, double check, make sure that you're clear. That's going to be your first thing no matter what you're doing. Everybody knows that, but there are some people that get, I'm just going to say they get busy. And that's your takedown. If you want to learn how to do a field strip on your gun, consult your manual or another video on YouTube about it. And this is Pro Series. You notice it's got the long barrel on it there. So, what we've got to do is get this pin out right here. And this pin is notoriously difficult to get out of there. There's a good chance of you going through a number of punches if you're just using a long punch on it. You see, that's the right size punch to go in there on that, but if I were to try and use that to begin with, we wouldn't get very far. So, I recommend if you are going to use, if you're going to work on guns, and you're going to work on guns that have small pins, you need to have extra punches laying around. And you need to take a couple of those brand new punches and you need to cut them. What this will allow is for you to get in there and get things started. See, now that one hit, with all that power is transferred directly into your pin. Now, if I would have been hitting on this, all that area there can flex and bow and bend. And so, not only do you destroy your tool, but you don't move your pin because this is like a shock absorber or a spring. So, now that you've got it started, I'll usually go to another one. One that's a little bit longer. You'll notice, up until then, this pin is just going to protrude out, right out of this cavity here. So we haven't actually needed a recess or a hole to knock the pin into until now. Once you on these, you've got a V block, so it gives you a little bit more room to work with. But once you get to there, then you can switch over to your longer punches and get your pin the rest of the way out. And that's the pin. Now, I made that look easy. This one wasn't that bad. Some of them are absolutely terrors to try and get loose from there. So whenever you remove this, make sure you have your thumb over there because it is spring loaded. On these, they don't have too much spring tension, but it's a good practice to get into. Now, to get this off there, you've got to push it forward a little bit, and then it'll come out. And so we're going to do a comparison on those here in just a minute. Let me get our spring out. And this is, for all practical purposes, a brand new gun. This gun doesn't have very many rounds at all through it, and so that also helps. Set that aside, and we're going to do a little comparison here on these extractors. Now, if you look at the two of them there, this one being your factory one, this one being the ApexTactical, right off the bat you see a difference. This was not relieved. Let me wipe this down a little bit. Okay, get some of our grime off of it real quick so we can compare. So you see there's no relief there. Now if we get our dial calipers, and let's pick a point, we'll measure right here. .244, 245. Same place, 248. Thickness really can't change much. 173, 170. Well, maybe it can. There's not going to be any way to really measure the distance there with the calipers, but I do believe, yeah, you got a little bit of difference there. It's just a better setup, stronger. If you guys can see, get a little focus in here. You all, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me get the camera where you can. Now right here, well, there we go. Okay. You see the difference in the two. This one is much stronger right here. It's got a beefier ledge than this one. It's straight. This one's got an angle to it. So either way, and it's a harder material. Got a little frog lube here on the brush. Imagine that, me using frog lube. Get our spring down in where it belongs. Remember, this has to go in and then slide back. We'll go in through the top. And whenever you start, I mean, there's all kinds of roll pin starting punches and stuff like that. The important thing is, just like driving a nail, make sure that you are driving it straight and tap it. You don't have to hit it hard to get it started. Then once you get it started, instead of tapping it or banging the hell out of it, just give it solid hits where you're transferring that power. If you've got a dead blow hammer, even my brass hammer is dead blow. Dead blow hammer is really, really good for doing this type of work because you don't have to worry about it bouncing and everything. There we go. This is a roll pin punch. It has a little nipple right there. They're nice for doing this because they help keep the punch from sliding off of the roll pin. And that nipple will usually push the roll pin down just a little bit past flush if you want it to. One of the things you can do with these roll pin punches is step up to the next bigger size roll pin punch. And what that will do is, because of this ledge and the size of it, it won't let, now it's not going to go down below this level. So it allows you to use the nipple in there to put the pin a little bit below the surface, but you basically got to stop. But when you do that, be careful because you're running a hard steel up against whatever your part is. You want to look down here and check and make sure that that is not sticking out and protruding into this area here. Once you've done that, you can take, I usually use a piece of brass, and hook it on there and make sure that you've got good articulation. And for all practical purposes, your FRE install is complete. Now again, like I said, that one went very smoothly. Whenever you try this, if it does not go as smooth for you, don't get discouraged. Just remember what I said about using your different punches. And you can buy punches like this. They're called starter punches. Don't buy a punch like this. Just buy an extra one or two. Cut it off. Run it on the grinder. I think in one of my tips section, in the tips playlist, I show how to do that. And so anyways, there's the ApexTactical Extractor Replacement FRE install. It'd be the same thing if you were just replacing with a factory extractor. Can't imagine why in the world you'd do that, but there you go. Thanks for watching.